next half hour, we will take you through all the global top stories. Hours after striking Syria, the United States, France and Britain launched a new bid at the United Nations to investigate chemical weapons attack in Syria. The three allies circulated a joint draft resolution at the Security Council that also calls for unimpeded deliveries of humanitarian aid, enforcing a ceasefire and demands that Syria engage in UN-led peace talks. The move signaled the West's resolve to return to diplomacy the strikes. A Russian bid for the United Nations Security Council to condemn US, British and French airstrikes on Syria over a suspected chemical weapons attack failed after only China and Bolivia joined Russia to vote in favor of a draft resolution. The United States, France and Britain defended their military action as legal during the Security Council meeting. Buildings said to be part of a scientific research center in the Damascus district of Barza were severely damaged following airstrikes carried out by the US, France and Britain. Stern forces struck Syria with more than 100 missiles on Saturday in the first coordinated Western strikes against the Damascus government, targeting what they said were chemical weapons sites in retaliation for a suspected poison gas attack. The U.S. Department of Defense released a video of the guided missile destroyer USS Monterrey conducting strike operations into Syria from the Arabian Sea. The Pentagon said that U.S. strikes in Syria overnight had successfully hit every target. Among the sites reportedly hit was the Scientific Studies and Research Center. US President Donald Trump made a call to UK Prime Minister Theresa May and thanked her for her support. They both affirmed that the airstrikes were successful. He also spoke with French President Emmanuel Macron to discuss the need to reinvigorate multinational stabilization efforts in Syria to ensure the long-term defeat of ISIS. Vice President Mike Pence said on the sidelines of the Summit of the Americas in Lima that U.S. forces degraded and crippled the chemical weapons capability of Syria. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expressed support of the unfortunate but necessary strikes in Syria in response to chemical weapons use. Germany will join France to push for a new international effort to achieve a lasting ceasefire in Syria. Officials from Germany, France, Britain and the United States will meet in London to discuss the next steps following coordinated Western airstrikes against Syria. Germany did not participate in the airstrikes but backed them as a necessary and appropriate action to warn Syria against further use of chemical weapons. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau backed airstrikes on Syria's chemical weapons program by the United States and its allies. But Argentina and Brazil at a summit in Lima voiced caution about escalating military action. Addressing regional leaders at the Summit of the Americas in Peru, Trudeau and several other leaders across the Western Hemisphere condemned the use of chemical weapons. Several dozen anti-war protesters demonstrated outside the White House a day after US President Donald Trump ordered precision strikes in Syria in response to a chemical weapons attack. Protesters chanted, "Hands off Syria," and called for peace, not war. The operation by the three allies came after a poison gas attack in Syria that killed at least 60 people last week. The U.S. Department of Defense released a video which showed a Tomahawk missile launching from the submarine John Warner. The launch was carried out in the Mediterranean as part of a multinational strike operation against the Syrian government in response to a recent chemical weapons attack. The video also shows of crews making final checks on a B-1 bomber and a takeoff from an undisclosed location. Rafale fighter jets engaged in French airstrike mission in Syria landed on French soil. Earlier in the day, French Defense Minister Florence Parly said the mission was a success. The French strikes targeted two sites used by Bashar al-Assad's regime to store and assemble chemical weapons near the Syrian city of Homs. According to Parly, there are no incidents to report between the French forces and other forces active in the region. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the nerve agent used to poison former Russian spy Sergei Skripal in Britain could have been the BZ substance, which was never produced in the Soviet Union or Russia. Lavrov said experts from a laboratory based in the Swiss town of Spiez had analyzed a sample of the substance used in the poisoning. The military wing of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad organization has claimed that 4 of its fighters were killed in an explosion during training near Rafah in the Gaza Strip. According to medics at the scene, the explosion was caused by an Israeli tank shell, but an Israeli military spokesman said that the army was not involved. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence said he is very hopeful that the United States, Mexico and Canada were close to a deal on a renegotiated NAFTA trade pact. The Vice President also said that the topic of funding for U.S. President Donald Trump's proposed wall on the U.S. border with Mexico did not come up in Pence's meeting with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. Thousands of Hungarians protested in Budapest against what organizers said was an unfair election system that gave Prime Minister Viktor Orban another landslide victory in the polls. The demonstrators marched towards parliament chanting, "We are the majority," and calling Orban the dictator. Orban won a third straight term in power last Sunday. French riot police clashed with protesters for a 6th day in the western town of Nantes as violent standoffs continue over the clearing of squatters from an abandoned airport site. One riot police was seen falling to the floor after being hit by fireworks protesters frequently use in violent protests. Now, cannons were deployed to disperse rioters. A man was trapped during a tornado touchdown in Arkansas. The man, Joshua Coleman, took out his camera and started filming the tornado as it sent debris swirling into the air and stopped vehicles. 4 people were injured and 160 buildings damaged after the rough weather condition. Thousands of mourners gathered in South Africa's Soweto township to bid farewell to anti-apartheid heroine Winnie Madikizela Mandela. The funeral ceremony united the nation as people from various political divides celebrated her life. Mandela's death on April 2 at the age of 81 after a long illness was met by an outpouring of emotion across the country. The ruling African National Congress and opposition parties also held memorials. The Philadelphia Police Department is investigating an accident captured on widely circulated videos in which officers arrested 2 black men as they sat in a Starbucks coffee shop. Cell phone footage shows the 2 men sitting quietly at a table and talking for several minutes to the police officers. They are then put in handcuffs and marched out. An all-male beauty contest took place at the 2018 Popo Carnival in Bonoa, which is the Ivorians' version of Mardi Gras. The festival runs for a week to the east of the capital, Abidjan. The organizer of the carnival, Alexis Cacho, said that they select a winner who is brave, handsome and sets a good example for the society. Snow fell in parts of southwest China's Sichuan province, adding special wintry charm to the previously warm spring days. On the mountain in Nanjiang County, snow and ice enveloped the trees that have just turned green and made the mountain white, creating a glistening world. The unexpected snow was a gift which brought great delight to visitors. French court froze the real estate assets and royalties of singer Johnny Hallyday as his widow and two children from a previous marriage squabble over an inheritance estimated at up to 100 million euros. The French rocker, who sold more than 100 million records in a nearly 60-year career, died in December 2017 at the age of 74 after a battle with lung cancer. A New Jersey production manager stepped out of obscurity to reveal himself as the newest millionaire by chance after a $2 Mega Millions ticket he bought at a gas station last month yielded him a jackpot of more than $500 million. The winner, Richard Wall, said he probably will stop working and use his winnings to help his family and friends. The actor Daniel Craig, who has played the British spy known as 007 in 4 films, is auctioning his personal limited edition Aston Martin. The vehicle even comes with the number plate 007. The car's value is estimated at $400,000 to $600,000 and will be auctioned on April 20th. Aston Martin cars have appeared in Bond films for more than 50 years. Jaguar Land Rover will not be renewing the contract of 1,000 temporary workers at the 2 factories. The UK's biggest car maker, owned by India's Tata Motors, blamed continuing headwinds affecting the car industry. It said it was continuing to recruit large numbers of engineers and apprentices, and it remained committed to its UK plants. India and the Nordic countries will host the first ever India-Nordic Summit in Stockholm on 17 April 2018. This is a historical moment as Prime Minister Modi will simultaneously have the chance to meet the Prime Ministers of Norway, Finland, Denmark and Iceland. The Indian PM and the Nordic leaders are expected to discuss democratic values, trade, investment, innovation and renewable energy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet German Chancellor Angela Merkel during a stopover in Berlin on April 20th after concluding his visits to Sweden and the United Kingdom. This will be the first meeting between the 2 leaders since Chancellor Merkel began her 4th term on March 14th this year. The visit demonstrates the commitment by the 2 countries to maintain the momentum of high-level exchanges. India's Federal Police Central Bureau of Investigation took rape-accused legislator Kuldeep Singh Sengar under a 7-day judicial custody. He's accused of raping a teenager in India's northern Unnao town 9 months ago. The case against India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. He came to light after the victim tried self-immolation last week outside the residence of the state chief Yogi Adityanath. More than 20 people were injured after a passenger train They were travelling in derailed near Katni district of Madhya Pradesh. 5 coaches of the Katni-Chopant passenger train derailed late on Saturday night around 10:30 p.m. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is monitoring the rescue operations and has given necessary instructions to the administration. People in eastern India's Itanagar city of Arunachal Pradesh state offered prayers at a Buddhist temple on the beginning of the splashy traditional water festival. People offered homemade sweets and food items. The water splashing on people and on the plants symbolizes spiritual cleansing in order to begin the new year free from impurities. Devotees of village Mendhasal in India's eastern Orissa state walked barefoot on embers to appease gods and pray for the well-being for their families on the occasion of Bisuba Sakranti or Uriya New Year. Devotees took out a religious procession known as Jhamu Yatra through the village to the temple while carrying straw in their mouth as part of a ritual to celebrate the 300-year-old festival. Now let's take you through some stories from the world of sport. Indian boxing legend MC Mary Kom has bagged the only major medal missing from her impressive cabinet by winning the 2018 Commonwealth Games gold in the women's 48 kg category. Making her Commonwealth Games debut at 35 years of age, the reigning Asian champion defeated Northern Ireland's Christina O'Hara 5-0 on a unanimous decision with perfect 30 scores from 4 judges to take the gold. Gaurav Solanki opened India's account in the men's events by clinching the gold medal in the 52 kg category. The 21-year-old emerged as the winner with a 4-1 split verdict after a tough final against Northern Irishman Brendan Everine and clinch his career's first major medal. India's Vikas Krishan Yadav was also crowned a Commonwealth Games champion for the first time after a comprehensive victory over Cameroon's Wilfried in the men's 75 kg final. Vikas won 5-0 by a unanimous points verdict with 2 judges giving him perfect 30 scores, while the 3 others scored the bout 29-28 in his favour. India have their only gold medal in women's wrestling at the Gold Coast Games after Vinesh Pogart finished on top of the podium in the 50 kg category. Playing in her first major competition since recovering from a knee injury she suffered at the Rio Olympics, the 23-year-old crushed Canada's Jessica McDonald 13-3 with the referee ending the bout early in the second period. Meanwhile, Olympic bronze medalist Sakshi Malik could only manage a bronze medal finish in the women's 62 kg freestyle. The 25-year-old failed to live up to her expectations and just about hung on against New Zealand's Tyler Ford, winning 6-5 to take the 3rd spot on the podium. Over in athletics, India have bagged their first gold medal of the 2018 Commonwealth Games with Neeraj Chopra winning the men's javelin. Chopra was one of the favourites for the gold medal and led from his first throw of 85.50 meters. He bettered his first throw on his 4th attempt with his season best effort of 86.47 meters to cruise to the gold medal. He becomes only the 5th Indian to win a gold medal in athletics at the Commonwealth Games. Manika Batra has created history at the Commonwealth Games by winning the women's singles gold medal. She blanked Singapore's Meng Yu 4-0 in the final to become the first Indian female paddler to win a singles gold. With 3 medals, a silver in the women's doubles as well as gold in the women's team event, Batra is the most successful athlete for India at the Games at the moment. But it was a disappointing end to the hockey campaign for Indian men as they returned home without a medal for the first time since 2006. Shordmar India's side had managed a 4-3 comeback win over England in the group stages but couldn't replicate their performance in the bronze medal match, going down 2-1 courtesy of twin strikes from Sam Ward. The Indian women's hockey team were handed a drubbing by their English counterparts as the Harinder Singh coached side suffered a 6-0 defeat in their bronze medal match. 4 of those goals came in the 4th and final quarter as a result of poor defending, which saw England score 3 of them in a span of just 2 minutes. Oscar-winning director Milos Forman passes away at 86 after a shot illness. The artist directed the popular film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which bagged an Oscar. The director also won an Oscar for Amadeus in 1985. Hollywood actor Will Ferrell has been hospitalized after he faced an accident in California and his SUV flipped over. The actor, who was accompanied by 2 passengers, was sideswiped by another car. The actor is said to be out of any significant danger.